People are able to conquer those money fears, and we're able to create that safe zone with our clients because we're having that long-term relationship. It's not transactional. We're not going to do your catch up in your tax return and see you next year.
You're listening to the Profit by Design podcast, episode 31. You work hard in your business. On the Profit by Design podcast, we ask the big question. What has your business done for you lately? Hi, I'm Dr. Sabrina Starling, the business psychologist, the author of How to Hire the Best, and your co-host on the Profit by Design podcast. Weekly, my co-host, Mike Bruno, and I bring you tips, tools, and strategies from our own experiences and from the experiences of our guests, who are entrepreneurial thought leaders and real-life entrepreneurs, all to support you in making intentionally profitable and sustainable business decisions to live the lifestyle you desire. So Profit Designers, I want to give you a little insight on something that's been going on at our Breakthroughs on the Bayou 4-week vacation retreat. So the retreat happened a few weeks back, and there's still a lot of conversation going on amongst the retreat participants and our alumni. Because you see, when you take part in our Breakthroughs on the Bayou retreat, it's not just that you come to my home at the Entrepreneurs Retreat Center for a few days and we all gather and then we disperse and you get back to business and you're on your own. We've really built a very strong community from our retreat alumni, and we stay in contact with each other and continue supporting one another's businesses. And I just want to share with you one of the things that has touched me tremendously in the last week or so is the wishing wall that we do at the retreat. And when we do the wishing wall, our participants take sticky notes and they write down things that they really, really, in their heart of hearts, want help with, or something that is on their bucket list that they've been wanting to accomplish, and they're missing a resource, or they have questions and they're just not quite sure how to make it happen. So the wishing wall really is a wall of dreams, and they post their dreams up there. And then as the retreat goes on, the other participants stop by and take a look at the wishing wall. And if they are able to support that entrepreneur in some way with respect to their wish, they write their name on the wishing wall. And I'm going to tell you something. It has been, I think, 3 or 4 weeks since that retreat. I haven't taken those sticky notes down on my walls. I just can't bring myself to do it. That might be my own little issue, but I walk by there every day and I see those wishes, and I think about it myself as to what can be done. How can we further and help these entrepreneurs at our retreat accomplish these things? Some of them are really big wishes. Some of them are very simple, basic things. But here's what's touched me so much in the last few weeks, and that is seeing each and every one at our retreat leaning in, supporting each other, and being a gift from gifts. I've been watching one entrepreneur after another at this retreat sharing a tool or a resource, something that they've created that's helped them, sharing it with others to further their business. And I think that is really the beautiful thing that's going on here, that's very different than what most business owners experience. A lot of times we feel like we are on our own, we're in our own little silos, and everything is on us to figure out. And I think it's a beautiful thing when we can connect and support each other. So that's what this podcast is about. I firmly believe in the power of connecting. And, we've had many conversations here on the podcast about connecting to learn. So I just want to encourage you, if you want to be a part of that and you want to step in at a deeper level, take a look at our Breakthroughs on the Bayou 4-week vacation legacy retreat that's coming up in March 2020. You may be an excellent participant to join us there. We probably have about 6 spots remaining. And if you're interested, go to 4weekvacation.com and hit the button for apply now, and we will guide you through getting your application in, and we'll have a conversation with you to see if it's a good fit. The other thing I want to share is that, yes, if you decide you're joining us, you are coming into a group of high-level entrepreneurs. And I want you to know this group of high-level entrepreneurs is very humble and very giving. Every one of us has come through the school of hard knocks, and there are no big egos in this community. So there's nothing to be afraid of. We're not an intimidating bunch of folks by any stretch, and we welcome new members coming into our community. So apply if you're interested at 4weekvacation.com. And also, while you're there, you can get my free Jumpstart guide for jumpstarting your own 4-week vacation. Hey, Profit Designers. On today's episode, Mike and I are having a conversation with Danielle Hayden and Lindsay Darby, owners of Kickstart Accounting, Inc. On this episode, we really dig into how we relate to money and fears that come up around money and how that interferes with us as entrepreneurs being able to make effective decisions in our businesses. In addition to that, we talk about business partnerships and ingredients for good business partnerships, as well as what do we entrepreneurs need to know about how to be a good client for our accountants and bookkeepers, and what is it that we do inadvertently as entrepreneurs that really can sabotage us getting good financial advice from our accountants and bookkeepers in our businesses. So with that in mind, I want to share with you a little bit about Danielle and Lindsay's background, and then we're going to dig into this interview. Danielle Hayden has a master's degree in accounting and financial management, and she's a licensed CPA in the state of Ohio. At the beginning of her career, Danielle found that her passion was not only for number crunching, but also for helping creative entrepreneurs understand their finances so they can grow their businesses. In her free time, Danielle enjoys the outdoors with her kids and checking out local wineries and breweries. Now that sounds fun. Lindsay Darby graduated from Cleveland State University with an accounting degree. While completing hundreds of audits, she discovered she most enjoyed working with the owners and management teams to develop financial and reporting plans, enabling them to achieve both their short and long-term goals. When Lindsay's not working, she enjoys traveling and checking out museums from around the country. So Danielle and Lindsay, it's wonderful to have you here with us. And we have some really interesting topics that we're going to get into with you here. And the one that I'm really intrigued to start off with is that you two are navigating a business partnership. And I want to hear a little bit about how you decided to go into business together. And you've been in business now 5 years, I believe. So what has it been like as you've navigated this partnership together?
Yeah, absolutely. So Lindsay and I actually worked together long time ago, and we had stayed in touch throughout the years. And we were both working for mid-sized companies, reporting to board of directors and investors, doing the accounting for them as CFOs. And we really saw a need as we went to networking events and events around the community for small business owners who were going out of business because they didn't understand their financials. They had poor cash management, didn't understand how to manage their inventory. And so we came up with a concept to be able to help entrepreneurs, right? And be able to help more than just the board of directors and the investors that we were working with at our individual companies. And the funny part is, this is Danielle here, and I texted Lindsay on New Year's and I said, hey, here's my business concept. I think that this is a way that we can really help the community of entrepreneurs. And Lindsay said, I'm in. And we're 5 years later, and best decision of your life, right, Lindsay?
Of course.
So Lindsay, when she sent you that text and you said, I'm in, what was it that just made you say, I'm in so quickly? How did you know?
Well, Danielle and I have had a long-standing friendship and relationship, and I trusted her. So when she said I had this wild and crazy idea, I said, you know what? Why not? I like the concept. I like you. Let's give it a go and see what happens.
Wow, Mike, this almost sounds like how we started the podcast.
Exactly, like the way we started it.
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's go try it and see how it goes. So Danielle and Lindsay, how did it unfold for you from there? What was the next step? How did you move it forward?
We did not get stuck in planning paralysis. We see it all the time with our clients. And as we've gotten to know other people in the entrepreneur community, a lot of business owners get stuck in planning and business plans and logos and websites. And so we just said, we got to get moving, right? We just, I'm a high action, go, go, go person. So, I just said, let's use a logo today. We can rebrand next year. Let's put up a website today. We can rebrand next year. Let's try to reach out to other accounting firms in the area. There was a firm in Columbus, Ohio here that we reached out to and said, hey, share with us your shoulda, woulda, couldas if you were to do it all over again. And they were so helpful, and other people in the community were so helpful. So, we just got to work and reached out to people and learned from other business owners' mistakes and took action, because you can really get paralyzed by planning.
Well, yes, I sure know that. I know when we were launching the podcast, there was a moment in time where we were just about ready to go. And I said, I think, Mike, we need to back off a little bit. We're not quite ready. And he said, no. We just go, get it out there.
High five, Mike.
I was headed into analysis paralysis, and he was like, no, we're going to move forward. So what's your school of hard knocks, shoulda, woulda, couldas around your business partnership? Because that is an area, it can go really well or it can go sideways really fast. What have you learned as you've evolved as a team?
Well, I think our biggest learn is to know who's good at what and to stay in our lanes. Like, there's certain things that I'm really good at and other things that Danielle is really good at. And we need to focus on those things rather than trying to cross.
Oh, that's good. So what are those things?
I think the big one is processes. I love processes. What are we going to use for project management? How are we going to document share? How are we going to train new staff? What are we going to use to make this growing team work together, especially virtually? Whereas Lindsay would prefer not to touch this stuff with a 10-foot pole. I'm diving in, trying every new software, analyzing them, pricing them out, training the team to make sure that we have the stuff in place. And so, I think at the beginning, I was like, come on, Lindsay, try out the software. And then in the end, I learned, okay, this is my jam. This is what I want to do. And Lindsay doesn't, and that's okay. So I think that that's a big way where, you could either let things frustrate you about your partnership, or you can say, okay, this is what I'm good at and this is what I enjoy, and she doesn't. So let me take this on and she'll take on another task.
Yeah.
I have a question. I'm raising my hand. So many partnerships fail, even with good processes in place and, a good partnership agreement. And I think for partnerships to work, there's some core values that each partner possesses that are critical to that partnership's success. So if you guys think about that, what are some of those core values that you individually possess that you feel like, helps the partnership as a whole?
I would say with me, it's more of a devil's advocate. I'm usually the calmer one, whereas Danielle is like, okay, I've got this idea. We're doing it tonight. Put on your running shoes. We're going. And I sit there and even her out a little bit. Like, let's look at both sides, see what's good, see what's not.
Yeah, I can't agree with that more, right? Having a partner who is not the same personality as you is key, right? Because if Lindsay and I were both running in every direction that I had suggested, I don't know that we would be as focused as we are today and growing the business that we have today, because I would have us in every direction that I thought of.
I really wouldn't have gotten any sleep for the last 5 years.
So what are some, in terms of like how you do business and the values that you hold in the way that, because I think there has to be something there in a partnership, that there has to be values that you come together around. And I'm intrigued by what Mike is sharing, because I think there's also values that the different partners bring where you complement each other and it makes a stronger whole. What are the values that you really unite around, that you have built your company around, and you see like in the world out there of accountants and bookkeepers, how you guys are different?
I think it's providing not only excellent customer service, because that's a cop-out, right? And everyone can say, I want to give excellent customer service, but we genuinely have a passion for helping fellow entrepreneurs understand their financial statements, use the financial information to grow their business. And we have watched so many struggling entrepreneurs who are afraid of money, right? They don't want to look at their financials. They haven't filed their taxes. They're afraid to call the old tax accountant that they were using because they feel like they're going to go get yelled at by their father, right? That's the stigma amongst accountants, is that I'm going to go get yelled at by someone who reminds me of my dad. And so we have really made a point to create a culture and an environment where we are our clients' safe zone. Right? Anybody can come to us with any question. I can't tell you how often I hear people say, I have a stupid question. And I said, no, there's no stupid question. We are really genuinely providing a safe zone for these entrepreneurs to come get clarity around their financials, conquer their fears around money, know their business, and finally make better business decisions. So it's really driving out of a value, of a passion of helping other entrepreneurs.
Well, safety and lack of judgment, that is so big, because if we feel that we've done something wrong with our business or a decision that we've made and our numbers are going to show that, we're going to be afraid to get help. So what are some things that you do to reassure entrepreneurs it's safe here? You can ask.
I think we try to get to know them on a personal level and make sure that we have that relationship. I mean, you have to be very, very careful with approaching that subject because money is such an intimate topic and so many people are scared of it. You need to build that relationship.
I really believe how we do money is how we do everything in life. Mm-hmm. And our greatest sensitivities are going to show up in how we handle money and how we relate to others around money. I was just in a conversation yesterday, and it was an approach avoidance conversation where someone was avoiding having a conversation with an accountant because of just some bad feelings from the past around money.
Oh, absolutely. And it happens more often than you would even believe.
And that keeps us from getting the help that we need to make the decisions that we need to be making in our businesses.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, think about your childhood and how your parents treated money and talked about money. And it creates such a mindset around money. I know as a mother, I am very cautious about saying, we can't afford to do that. I always say, well, I choose not to spend my money there. And because I want to make sure that my kids don't grow up with money issues, right? Because I look at these entrepreneurs who are talking to us about money and they're scared and they're afraid and they think that they have a scarcity mindset. They think that they can't afford it. We see entrepreneurs that won't even take a paycheck, right? Because they are so afraid to take money out of their business. And that comes from their history and what they've watched other people do with money. And some people see money as greed, right? The people around them who had money didn't treat other people well. So they are even afraid of being worthy to have money.
Yeah, I think there's also that, a lot of entrepreneurs see, bookkeepers or accountants as, that dreaded end of the year task that I hate doing, but I need to do it. And I think, there's certainly a lot of bookkeepers and accountants out there that treat it that way too. It's a transactional type of relationship. I'll talk to you next year. And when they're talking to you next year, it's already too late, right? So anything that you could have, it's like you need an entrepreneur in order to be successful and wrap their mind around money and be proactive in being profitable needs to practice preventative bookkeeping and accounting, right? Just like preventative medicine. So if you have a bookkeeping firm, accounting firm, such as yours, where you're playing an integral part in their success throughout the year and they're understanding their dollars and it makes sense, or, they're able to make those changes, then at the end of the year, it doesn't have to be that, oh my God, like I lost what and I owe what in taxes, right? So it's like, it's a mindset shift. Entrepreneurs really need to change their mind and say, I need to be proactively practicing preventative bookkeeping and accounting so that, I'm healthy, right? The business is healthy.
I love that analogy. And if you don't mind, I'm going to use that again because we've never called it preventative, but it's like going to the physician before something is wrong. And that's very true because, we tell clients, if they come to us beginning of 2019 or the beginning of the year and say, hey, I need to file my taxes, but I don't have any of my numbers put together for last year. We will only accept them as a client to catch up their financials, to put everything in a form where they can file their tax return if they sign up for future bookkeeping services, because we do not want to allow people to stay in that same pattern every year where they're walking into tax season having no idea how their business did. You have to understand how your business is doing throughout the year at a minimum on a quarterly basis. Making sure you're making the estimated tax payments. Understand if your revenue is going up or down. Where are you spending the most money? Are you spending more than last year? These are all the key performance indicators, all the key pieces of information that we make sure people have as they get through the year. So, Mike, just reinforcing what you said, but I'm definitely going to take that preventative medicine.
I love that analogy, Mike, because, I think so much if we haven't been addressing money in our business and we've been avoiding it, it's really just like when we have to go on a diet and, the doctor says we've got to get healthy now. And, this is very serious. You need to take some steps to take care of yourself. It feels really overwhelming. And the really key to being successful is the small steps. So taking those small steps forward. And Danielle and Lindsay, I really get the sense from how you two describe what you do that you are very good at helping your clients start with those small steps forward.
Yep. I also like what I heard about how you will not take a client unless they sign up for future bookkeeping services, right? So Sabrina, that's a little pumpkin planning in there, right? Because they've identified that their ideal client has to be somebody that is actually starting, that is willing to take the steps to practice, that preventative type of, accounting, bookkeeping moving forward, and not just transactional. Okay, I'm going to file your stuff for $1,000. See you later. Or maybe we'll never see you again. Right. So that's a very good system that you have in place there to really capture those entrepreneurs that, maybe they were completely sideways before they met you and they're looking for help, but now you're going to be able to put them through your system and your process and have them enjoy the entrepreneurial journey a lot more and get their business on track and start making money and start, making it what they, the whole reason why they started the business to begin with. That's awesome. I mean, that's really great to hear.
Yeah, and that goes back to that long-term relationship with our clients, right? People are able to conquer those money fears, and we're able to create that safe zone with our clients because we're having that long-term relationship. It's not transactional. We're not going to do your catch up in your tax return and see you next year. We are going to establish your long-term relationship and be here with you as you grow your business and grow with you.
Do you have an example of a client situation where they've come to you and things have been a mess, and through the process that you take them to, they've really gotten much more comfortable with their numbers and they're having a much healthier business because of it?
Oh, absolutely. The first one that comes to mind was actually one of our first larger clients. We had first connected on Instagram, and all she wanted was her stuff put together to do taxes. We did that, and I said, okay, now what? Like, we need to get regular. Okay. Kind of hemmed, kind of hawed. Well, here we are 3 years later, and she knows her numbers, knows exactly what's going on, is able to make good decisions. She just hired 2 more people, and hopefully by the end of the year, she will hit $1 million in revenue.
Oh, my goodness.
That's great.
That's phenomenal. So as you took her through that process, what did you both learn about yourselves? Because I know for myself, whenever I'm working with clients and we're going through that mess to success process, I always am learning and growing myself. What are some things that you two are learning as you're taking a business owner through that process?
Well, we joke all the time that we need a bookkeeper too, right? We need to have somebody on our team making us look at our financials. So, I think as we've worked with clients, it's, hey, how are we doing, right? Let's make sure that we're looking at our numbers. We preach it all day long. Let's make sure that we are setting goals each year. What are our goals for this year? Is it spend more in advertising and grow our revenue, or is it to stay as profitable as possible this year and really cut expenses? But when you set those goals, like we do with clients, right? You set those goals And then when you look at your financial statements and when you decide on where you're going to spend your money that you're bringing into the business, it makes it really easy to do that because you know what the goal was for that year. So that's one of the things that I think we've learned is let's make sure we're taking ourselves to that exercise and not just our clients. So let's learn from it.
Well, yeah. And I know for myself as a coach, it is so easy to focus on everybody else's business and make sure their business is all buttoned up and forget to look at my own. And so that's been a big part of my learning and growth, especially over the last few years as my business has grown pretty quickly, is slowing things down and making sure I'm going back and doing the things that I need to do in my business, just like I'm taking my clients through. And I find I have a much greater, because I'm doing that, I have a much greater appreciation for what they're experiencing as they're going through the process. Do you find that too?
Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely. I think that we can spend all of our time and energy helping other people. And you really need to take a step back and say, okay, how do we use this information to help us stay focused?
Yeah. And I know you have a financial goal setting worksheet, and some of the topics that you were just hitting on as you're doing this in your business sounds to me like you're actually using that financial goal setting worksheet in your own business, but it's also a tool that you share with your clients, and it's a process that you take your clients through. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so this worksheet is the tool that we use. We use this on a regular basis to help us establish our own, short and long-term goals. So it is so important to start off with understanding where you have been. So taking a look at what your numbers were. And if we use a year, you can use a year, you can use a quarter, depending on how new your business is. Anybody can use this exercise, right? Just really taking a step back and looking at where your business has been, identifying the lessons that you've learned from those mistakes and achievements that you've made, and then taking the steps in the worksheet to really go through and analyze your business. And then using that information to set those short and long-term goals. And like I said, when you do that exercise, for example, if my goal this year is to be as profitable as possible as a business owner this year, I want to take home as much money to support my family as I possibly can this year. So then I know every time I go to spend money that this is not in alignment with my goal this year. I need to be very, very thoughtful with every expense that my business incurs because I understand what my goal is this year. But another goal might be we are going to grow our top line revenue, by 100% over last year. And so when you go to spend money, again, that makes it really easy to think about where you're going to spend those dollars. Does it align with that goal? Is spending that money going to help you achieve the goal of doubling your revenue from last year? So this worksheet really makes it easy for you to understand those goals and put them into place. And then the final piece is understanding your fixed expenses. So we find this with all small business owners. You need to know how much it costs you to stay afloat every month. And that way you have a baseline in order to be able to support those goals. And so this worksheet will really help walk you through those steps and make it easier for you to run your business.
So my mind is kind of going here because I'm having an aha moment. If we have a goal to be as profitable as we can be or to hit a certain profit percentage, because we do profit first, so we have target allocation percentages with profit first, that's one thing. But if we have a goal to grow sales by 50% over last year, those two goals could result in very different actions and decisions in the business and decisions and choices about money in the business. And if the goals exist side by side, that needs to be clarified. So if you're going to grow sales by 50% over last year and you have a profit goal, how do you do it and do both goals at the same time? Or if it's one over the other, that also needs to be clarified. If it's more important to grow sales by 50% than it is to hit a certain profit target, that needs to be clarified. And I think that's really critical in a situation like where you two have a business partnership. The partners need to be talking about that.
And talking about that on a regular basis. And that's where I think reviewing your financials on a regular basis really comes into play, right? So if your goal is to increase sales by 50% and remain profitable, then every month, at the end of the month, you need to be looking at how your business did and set goals for the following month. What is your sales target dollar? Here's my fixed costs. Now, how much money do I have outside my fixed costs to spend and remain profitable? So it's taking that goal and then reviewing it every month, or at a minimum every quarter, to make sure that you're looking at what you did and planning out that next period.
Yeah, no, I think you need to be reviewing it every month, just as you're saying that, because I think, wow, if we wait till the end of the quarter, oh my goodness, there's so much we've missed. It's too late. We can't go back and fix it.
I couldn't agree more, but some clients say that's too often. And I tell every client, no, review it with us every month.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. And then I'm also looking at this worksheet, and I see on here you ask, what are your 3 biggest expenses from the previous year? Tell me why that's important. What do you do with that information?
Well, I think that there's a few things. When you look at what your biggest expenses are, so generally we find that a lot of our clients, their biggest expenses are their rent costs and their personnel costs, and then some general supplies. And the big reason to continually watch that number is, let's say we increase our revenue by 50% the following year, the following quarter, and our personnel expenses, went up by 75%. That's not a healthy ratio. And so we really want clients to understand, what are those biggest expenses? How much do they expect those expenses to increase by? So that you're constantly watching those biggest expenses and making sure that they are not surpassing the revenue growth. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
That's huge. So when you're working with a business owner on this, you're virtual, right?
Oh yeah, we're 100% virtual. Mm-hmm.
So you have clients all over the country, just like we do.
Correct, yeah.
How do you take somebody, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs still have that traditional accountant mindset that there's this guy in this office, and, when I think about my traditional accountant, I think about there's cigarette butts and then there's an ashtray over there. And I can walk in and bring my numbers in, but it's not that way anymore. So just walk us through, how do you do this virtually with clients?
Well, we're a big proponent of video calls. We'll use Zoom or Google Hangouts and get on video calls. I still think that helps with the human touch, right? You can see me, I can see you, and we can work together as if we're sitting across the desk to each other. So, before we get on that video call, though, you will receive from us a set of monthly financial statements with key pieces of information. So we understand that when people get that Excel document from us with an email, they still cringe and they think, I'm not opening that big, hairy Excel document with lots of numbers. So we make sure that they have a few pieces of key information in that email so that they understand, if they don't even open that, they know where their sales are. They know how they did compared to the prior period, the prior year. They know what their expenses are trailing compared to prior year. They know what their biggest expenses are, and then we'll track some of their goals. So give them some key pieces of information related to what their goals were. And then from there, we will ask that client to schedule time to get on the phone with us. And then we do that via video call so that we are still putting that human touch to accounting. And it's a non-threatening zone. So they can respond if they don't want to get on the phone with us. Some people don't want to get on the phone, and that's okay. So we have some people who ask us questions and analysis in email form, and we respect that. We have some people who want to do a video call every month, and we do that for them. It's really making sure that we are able to help them understand their financials in whatever way is best for our client.
So what do you do when you have a client that just disappears on you? The reason I'm asking about this is I'm thinking you're doing all this fantastic work for them. You've set goals. You're giving them updates around their goals that, you're really giving them what they need to make some key decisions in the business. And then for whatever reason, they just stop engaging and responding. And if there's some number fear in there or anxiety around money that might be coming up, Do you all do anything?
We keep consistent. So it depends on the client relationship. So, we had one gentleman that I'm thinking of in particular who really just ghosted us, right? He stopped paying his bills. He stopped sending us statements, just really ghosted. And we reached out every month, probably it was a long time that we reached out every month and tried to be there for him. Other clients, if we have access to their bank statements and credit card statements, and we have their QuickBooks online access, and we still have a bank feed established, so we can still get all their financial information, we keep showing up for them, right? So there might be something going on with them personally. We had one client who ended up in the hospital, and we didn't know that, right? She didn't post it on social media. She didn't reach out to us, but we kept on showing up for her, and we kept on sending her financial statements at the end of every month. And she knew that when she got out and she got better, that we were still there for her. And she reached out, she told me what happened, and she said, I really, really appreciate the fact that although I had not been answering, that you continue to be here as my accountability partner. And wow. I appreciate that this information was here for me when I got back. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's so important, is just to keep trying. And that consistency, that's about building trust. And it goes back to what you said about creating that safe zone.
Yeah, I think that's really an important part of the process. And I was going to ask, for an entrepreneur taking on something new, right? So when you have somebody that starts to work with your firm, what, in your experience with the other, your current clients and people you've worked with, how long does it take for them to kind of right side the business, get everything on a forward moving track, gain some momentum, and really be able to dig in and start working on this stuff? I mean, I'm sure it's not overnight, and nobody should expect it overnight. It's just like, if you go on a diet, you don't expect to lose 50 pounds the first week.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
you might expect to, but you're not going.
And I'm sure business owners get frustrated too, because they're pulled in a million directions and they need that accountability partner. And that's what makes you guys super special. But what can somebody expect, just in terms of, generalized timing? I know every business is different sizes, maybe a lot different, but what would that expectation look like?
Well, it depends on when they're coming to us too. So we have some people who come to us right when they start their business, right? They heard that they were supposed to find a accountant, and that was one of the things that they did right off the bat. And that's our favorite clients, because we can really teach them good habits from day one, right? So they're established with an accounting system. We're able to teach them the good habits that they need. They're analyzing their financials. And so those types of business owners will benefit from our services faster. For a client who is coming to us because they're already tired, frustrated, they've been losing money, they don't know how to turn their business around, that's a much longer process, because we know that they have not been looking at their financials. They have not been managing their cash correctly. So a client like that is going to take much longer to help them turn that around. And so we really try to help them focus on bite-sized chunks. So for some clients, they might get a weekly cash dashboard that says, here's your cash position, here's your bills that are coming out this week, here's your inventory purchases. And so they're looking at it every Monday, and they know where they're at every single week. And so that type of client might take a little bit longer, but we tailor our services to help them get what they need so that they can have that quicker turnaround.
That's awesome. Have you had to fire a client?
Yes, we have.
So what makes a client get fired? Because this is intriguing to me, because I get to sit kind of on the outside of the relationship as a business coach. I get to hear business owners complain about their accountants and bookkeepers. And I also have a lot of clients who are accountants and bookkeepers, and I get to hear them complain about business owners and what we do. And so I think there might be some misunderstanding. And so, from your perspective, what is it that a client does that is worthy of getting them fired?
Well, at the end of the day, we're people, right? We're two people with a team of people who are all working their tails off, right? We're all working really, really hard to help our clients. And when a client is frustrated in their own business, making it profitable, turning it around, and they're taking that frustration out on us and our team, That's what makes a client get fired. And we've seldomly have done it. It's not like we are not in the practice of firing clients, but when we and our team are getting text messages on the weekends and inappropriate times that are just mean, that to me is a lack of respect and a lack of dignity that we just won't tolerate.
One day when we're out of this business, I'm going to make a book entitled Shit My Clients Have Sent Me. I save all of these text messages. So one day, look for my coffee table book.
I can send 20 chapters.
Yeah, Mike's a contractor. And so.
Oh, yours have to be pretty good too.
Yeah, I think you guys could compare some war stories here. Yeah, so it's the outrageous expectations of what an accountant or bookkeeper is going to do for you to fix things that probably are the accumulation of a lot of bad decisions over time in your business.
Yes, kind of like your diet example. We can't correct this in 1 month. We're not magicians. We're here to help you. And at the end of the day, you continue to make decisions day in and day out by yourself. So if we're guiding you in one direction and you're making decisions in another, and then frustrated with us, there's expectations there. Again, we can go back to the mindset and money fears and decisions.
Yeah. So what your ideal client, I heard you say that somebody coming to you totally new, so you can teach them and help them start doing things right from the start. I love that idea. I think that would be so fun to have that opportunity too. What else goes into a great client? How do we as business owners show up to our accountants and bookkeepers and be like an awesome client? What do we need to know?
Engage with them, ask for the information. We have some clients who are in masterminds, and in their masterminds, they're being asked questions about their financial statements. And I tell those clients, come and ask us. If there's an analysis that you want done, or there's a question that you have, come talk to us. We're not scary. We don't charge by the hour. So come talk to us. Let us help you. So, and that might not be the case for every bookkeeper and accountant. Entrepreneur who does have questions, they might be charged every time they go to their accountants. And that might be a different story for them.
That's big. Mm-hmm. Because there's still a lot of business owners who are used to the traditional accountant. Every time I call, I'm going to get a charge. So you just threw that out there. And I want to highlight this. You're saying we want the questions and we are not charging extra for them.
Correct.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things that we noticed right when we started. Everybody thought they were on the clock, so they were afraid to call us when something crazy happened. So we put a kibosh to that right away. Like, worry about that. You are not. Like, let's talk this through. Let's make sure that we're making the right decisions and the best decisions for you.
Wow. So what else makes a great client? How do we business owners show up and be really good clients for our accountants and bookkeepers?
Keep us up to date. If anything changes, we should be one of the first to know. And that could be a new loan. That could be a refinancing of something. That could be looking at making a major purchase. Make sure that we're with you, or at least are given the information in a timely manner. That way that we can best reflect that in your statement and help you moving forward.
Okay. Anything else?
I was just saying, read our emails. Communicate.
Oh, open emails. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. I put read receipts on for a few months. That was interesting. Read our emails. We're not telling you anything scary, right? So if you're not sure, you don't understand, schedule the time, like Lindsay said, communicate. We'll have clients say, oh, the balance sheet's not right. And we'll say, well, when did you email about the new loan that you got? So communicate, the essential to every good relationship.
Yeah, and I was just going to make a blanket recommendation to any entrepreneurs out there that are listening. And Sabrina, you and I have talked about, the power of vulnerability. And I think, again, a lot of business owners are just afraid to attack the money problems, or, I'm not making as much as I perceive that I'm making. And, when you're working with a trusted advisor and a trusted firm, have to be completely open, right? You need that 100% vulnerability. You need to just let it out there and get it fixed. And you can't hide anything. You have to communicate. You have to be open to change. From that, great things happen.
Yes. So this is really good. I'm excited to be thinking through, what do I need to be doing as a business owner to have success with my accountant and bookkeeper and have the relationship work. So Danielle and Lindsay, anything else that you want to share with our listeners?
What I've learned the most in this business is, don't get stuck in planning mode. Take the leap. If you're thinking about a new product, do your homework and try it out. The world wants what you have to give. Don't compare yourself to other people. Take the leap as an entrepreneur, work with your team, work with your bookkeeper, work with your accountant, and move your business forward. Don't get stuck. Work out those frustrations with your business and in your numbers and keep it moving. I just think as entrepreneurs, we're pulled in so many directions and we have so many great ideas, but we have to keep moving. We have to keep taking action and growing our businesses and growing as individuals.
Absolutely. Lindsay, any final thoughts?
I would think the biggest thing that I've learned embarking on this adventure is if you make a mistake, just own it. It's done. It's over with. Don't dwell on it. Learn from it. Plan for it, prep for it, and move forward and make better choices and take that experience with you.
Yeah. So we have your financial goal setting for your business worksheet that you've given us to share with our profit designer. So we will be putting that in the show notes. How do folks get in touch with you?
The best way is through our website, kickstartaccountinginc.com. Don't forget the Inc. It's kickstartaccountinginc.com. Our website's the best place, but we're on all your social media channels. We're on Facebook, Instagram. We love for people to engage in our posts. We really try to help our clients and just fellow entrepreneurs. So come meet us on social media and have a conversation with us.
Okay, thank you. Mike, I want you to take us out of here. You always have really good takeaways from these interviews. What are you taking away? What's been valuable for you here today?
I have more of a comment than a takeaway. So I just wanted to say that I hope you guys realize how special you are and how special your services are to entrepreneurs. This was a welcoming discussion, and I hope for the people that are listening, if you are suffering in any way with your bookkeeping, accounting, that, you reach out to them, because it's something that I never had. I always had more of a transactional relationship with my bookkeepers and accountants, and it frustrated me so much. So thank you guys for sharing everything. And, you're definitely, a special team, and I wish you the best success.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you.
Bye, Mike. Thank you for spending time with us today. Join our conversation in the Profit by Design podcast Facebook group. Share your thoughts on today's episode, ask us questions, and let us know what you want to hear about next. Visit our website at profitbydesignpodcast.com to access resources from our sponsors and tools we've created for you. Subscribe to the show on whatever platform you're listening to right now. There's a subscribe button right there. Go ahead and hit it so that you always get a notification when we release a new episode. And finally, share our podcast with a friend if you know a friend who would enjoy it. Thanks again for listening. This is real life business. Keep your chin up, keep moving forward. You got this.